Every time I do any video related to Ryan, I'm like obligated to wear this godforsaken hoodie, but now is more of an important time than ever. Because the Hoodie Ryan collection with the face shop was like, oh, we're not that popping right now, so we need to do something to boost sales in some way or form. So they're like, why not re-release our makeup but with different packaging? So that's what they did. I actually didn't get everything because I'm just not interested in a lot of the face shop stuff. But I will talk about the stuff that I didn't get. So I'm going to talk about the products in order of how they appear on the, well, this is actually the medium box site. This is where I ordered something because it was released the 21st, but only half of it was released. The lip tint and the Subun cream were actually released like 2-3 days afterwards. I know the face shop has done that before. I don't know why they do it. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, the Subun cream. I didn't get the Subun cream because, yeah, the chia seed line. And they released the oil controlling version and the intense version of it. The chia seed oil control whatever version is, well, in general, both of them I don't really care for the ingredients. They both have PEG in them and they both have fragrance in them, so not a big fan of that. And I tested it in store. The lighter version, like the gel version, is like water basically. It's almost like aloe gel, almost even thinner than that. And then the intense version you would think is like a really thick, moisturizing, rich cream, but it's not. It's just a slightly thicker version of the gel. It's almost like a gel in itself, so pass on that. But you know, I've never used them myself. I could only ever see them being good on people that have maybe like normal skin to slightly dry skin. There's also a body wash and a body lotion. Didn't get the body wash because I use Lush for my body wash, but I did get body lotion only because, like, look at this shit. I have to say though that the packaging on all of this is really high quality. It's like really thick plastic, so it doesn't feel cheap or anything. The body lotion, I always wash my hands, and so my hands get really dry. I mean, I have a hand cream, but it's always like around the house. I never find it, so I figured I would have this next to my computer, so whenever my hands feel dry, I just, you know, pump it a little bit. It feels just like, you know, a thin, not thin, it's like a regular body lotion. It feels a lot like Johnson's & Johnson's baby lotion. It also smells a lot like it, plus a little bit of, it's like Johnson's & Johnson's, and like, I can't point my finger on it, but it's a little bit more floral and fruity at the same time. I don't know, it smells like baby lotion to me. They also have this thing called Quick Hair Puff, and it comes in 2 colors, natural brown and dark brown. And those are I didn't get that one either because, mostly because they don't match my hair color. They're basically just like the puff things that have like that powder inside. And if you have like a hairline that's kind of, like you can kind of see your scalp, or you have like if you have thin hair in general, you can kind of pounce it on the part of your hair so that your hair looks thicker. I don't really use that, only if I get a haircut and the sides are really, really short, so I look bald on the side, then I'll use it. But I already have one of my own, and I have like in a black color, and I felt like that matches my hair more than these 2 colors. Now, onto the stuff I actually have. Cushion actually isn't a new formula. Here's the thing, it came in like in this little bag thing. Everything came separately, but I think normally it would come in this. This is just like a Ziploc thing. You could probably reuse this and use it to carry some of your other makeup. I mean, but it's just cheap, like plastic packaging. It's cute though. You can get the case separate. This is literally just like the case. It's just his head, it's fucking adorable. And also, again, it's really thick plastic. And I think out of all the face shop Kakao Friends like cushion kits that came out, this is my favorite because it's like a 3D. Anyway, what it really is just you get the case plus one of their formulas they already have, like with a refill. So you're really, how much is it? It's like, so with the case plus the cushion, it's 20,000 watts, which is actually not that bad. At this point, you're just picking the formula that you want. I'm not a huge fan of the face shop cushions, mostly because the coloring is really off for a lot of them. A lot of them are really pink or really gray. My favorite that I can think of is, that I used before that I know well, is the what is it called? The moisture one. I don't remember what it's called, but I don't think they have, do they have it? The one I got was the CC long lasting cushion, and I tried it, and it seems okay. I've only tried it for the first time today, but it's pretty thin. I did test some of the other ones in store, but they seemed really oily and they seemed to break down a little bit and kind of cake up in a way, and it was just on my hand. This one seemed the thinnest, but it gave pretty decent coverage. I did use like the color correctors underneath. So, I mean, I really don't think that made much of a difference either, but it gave me a really natural coverage. It was like medium. It's definitely buildable, but I didn't, you know, I knew I was going to be adding a lot of other products, so I didn't bother putting like a ton of layers. Really, I got this just for the kids. I got mine in the color V203 Natural Beige. Natural Beige is like my color in the Face Shop cushions, and it's a pretty decent shade match, I think. It's a little... It's not pink, but it's more neutral. There are 3 kind of like mini, what are these called? Yeah, the mini makeup bar. And I believe it was Tony Moly that had something like this first. They had like a 3-section, like it's a little cube thing that has 3 different components in it. And the top part is plastic. This is like frosted glass. So the packaging is very, like again, like the rest of the thing is very firm and very substantial. There's a bar that comes with concealers and kind of shading and highlighting. There's another one for cheek color, and I believe you can actually also use this on your lips. And then a color correcting one. First of all, the formula on these is really, really thin and watery. So for a color corrector, I think that's a good idea, because if it's gonna go under your foundation, I think it should be on the thinner side. I don't like the idea of having a really thick color corrector and then putting foundation on top, because I feel like it will just make the foundation almost cakey in some situations. But as long as it's doing its job of color correcting, I think it's fine. These are really thin, but I wouldn't say they're like pigmented or anything, but they do its job of like slightly correcting like the redness or like the darkness under the eyes, or the or like brightening that certain part of the skin tone. There is a peach one for dark circles, a green one for, of course, redness, and then a lavender-ish. Is that like, it's more like blue? I put that like right here to kind of give volume to the center of my face, because I do prefer a more like plump look to the cheeks. I like it, but I don't see myself reaching a lot for it. But if you're the type of person that likes color correcting, I think you might like this. Number 2, Vivid Cheek Bar. This very similar formula to the last bar, but these are basically just cheek colors. You get a red color, you get a coral color, you get a pink color, and I think the range of color, I mean it's only 3 colors, but I think the range is pretty decent. I can definitely see the red working really well. Actually, even the pink one working really well in deeper skin tones, because it has such, well, here's the thing. It's like really watery, but very buildable. So if you need it to show up more on the skin, you can definitely build it up, and it still remains watery, and so it doesn't feel like you're like taking makeup on because it's so thin. So if you have a deeper skin tone, you can definitely build it up to a much stronger pigment. For this, I kind of just blend it with a sponge, but I think you can, depending on the foundation you use, if you can rub it in with your fingers without disturbing foundation, you can do that too. Or if you're a person that doesn't need foundation and you just want something on your cheeks, this would be amazing for you, because it's really quick. It's just like a tint basically, but for your cheeks. Not tint in the sense that it's gonna stain your cheeks, but tint like the way it feels. I use the second one, I use coral because I gravitate towards color like that. I don't think I'll reach for pink, but a combination of coral and red, I really like these. So I can recommend it, but you don't have to buy it if you don't want to, but I like this one. I did try it on my lips at some point, but it felt like it would rub off easily, so I wouldn't even bother, but it has almost like a very slippery silicone-y feel, so I'm surprised this is number 3 actually though, because I would imagine you'd put this afterwards. Anyway, number 3 is the Volume Cover Bar. It comes with a shading color, a concealer, and a highlighter. The formula on these ones is much thicker than the other ones. It's not like super thick, but you know, it's pigmented enough so that it's not just like a watery thing you put on your face. But the shading I find is actually a really good color. It has enough gray in it to make it, to register it as like an actual shadow on the face. But with that being said, I can only see it really working on maybe fair to like light medium, maybe. Like it's like on me, it's just a really light wash, which I like. So I can find myself reaching for this often. The concealer is kind of like, if you're more like light to like medium, I wouldn't use this on fair. It might be too dark for you. And definitely, it would definitely be more of like a highlight color. Highlight like kind of, you know, like the triangle under the eyes, that sort of highlight on like a deeper skin. So I guess you could find use in that one if you're a slightly deeper skin tone, but don't think of this as you wouldn't be able to cover like maybe like a blemish, because it would obviously stick out from the rest of your foundation. And then the actual highlight, I really like the highlight. It's one of those liquid highlighters that have like a really strong reflection to it. It's almost like, it reminds me actually of a slightly less metallic version of the Anastasia her recent like liquid highlighter thing, but it's not as, it doesn't like dry down as quickly as that one, and you do have a little bit more time to play around with it, and well, slightly less sheer. So can you really compare it to that? It just kind of gave me that same 느낌, 분위기, that sort of thing. I guess mostly because it has like a really high sheen to it, so I really like it. And it's not too white on my skin tone. It does have a little bit of like a pinkiness to it, but after having blended everything in, you kind of don't really even see it that much, to be honest. So I think it would work better on more, if you have like better skin than me, honestly. But I will say at this point, after having added all those like face products on, it was feeling a little cakey. So I actually had to set it with like a powder. I used my again, my Skin Food powder, which kind of definitely mattified. Like I only put it really in the middle and kind of around here. That definitely helped keep it from looking super cakey. It's because all the products are so moist and dewy that it kind of started to like really layer, and so under my eyes it was starting to like crease a little. So, you know, mattifying with some powder did help. So do keep that in mind. I do have a feeling it's because of my facial structure and my skin that it was starting to feel that way, but if you have much better skin, you can definitely work with much thinner layers so that you don't really get that. But that is something to keep in mind if you happen to buy like all the collection. Of course, you don't have to buy every single thing. You can pick and choose the things you want, and if you happen to have a foundation routine that involves less, then you're probably gonna avoid that. But for me, I did want to try everything in one like look, so that's something to keep in mind. I don't know why I got this. I thought these were just like stickers you can put on like your phone or something, but it's actually nail stickers. Probably what a lot of people are excited for is the eyeshadow palettes. Can we go first of all, can we talk about the packaging? Like the part of the packaging that you would throw away? Like I identify with this on so many levels. Look, he's like peeking out from like behind the box. Oh my god. And on the back, he's like hanging on the side. So there are two palettes. Number one is more of like a nudes, very like urban decor, naked basics, that sort of feeling. So it's really good for daily makeup. And then the second, I think, is actually a really smart move on the Face Shop. The second palette is more of like reds, very fall colors, which is actually really popular these days. Like the kind of cranberry, really strong reds, oranges, fall leaf colors. So I thought that was really smart of them, instead of releasing a bunch of random colors for each palette. You know, fucking on Instagram, those beauty gurus, those Instagram gurus that have the Huda Beauty eyeshadow house, they're always like, oh. Anyway, the formula on these are very Korean to me. If you're an avid K-beauty person, I think you might know what I'm talking about. They're not on the level of like Anastasia, but they're really smooth, really creamy, really buttery. When I do dip my brush in, I do tap off my brush. There's a lot of like kick up, but in the pan itself, there's not that much. It's those shadows that are really easy to build, which is a character of good Korean shadows. So of course it's not Anastasia or like, I don't know, Natasha Denona or some shit, but I consider these good shadows. I do always use a primer. So did I use a primer? I didn't use a primer today, only because I was too lazy, but the color was pretty much coming out the way that I wanted it. But in the swatches on my hand, which I will show you, I did use primer and they worked really well. I actually only wanted to show you brush swatches because I felt like that was more, I feel like most people use brushes for eyeshadow. But using a primer underneath, they built very, very well, very easily. So in my opinion, I think these shadows work really well. The more nudes palette, again, very good for daily makeup if you're not that adventurous, but I feel like a lot of people, if you're into makeup, I feel like you probably would have colors like this already. But if you're just starting to get into makeup and you need like an eyeshadow palette that has a good range of like nudes, this has like a good variety of warms and cool tone browns, and the packaging on these, again, is really thick and really durable and sturdy. So they come with like these sponge applicators, which actually really feel they feel pretty good as well. So I don't completely throw these out, but I know a lot of people don't like using them. But you know, for certain looks, I think you can just maybe even use this, but I have so many brushes anyway, I just use brushes. But if you find that you do have a lot of nudes already and you want something a little more exciting, this does come with slightly more interesting colors, I guess. Oh, by the way, the first palette is all completely matte. So I think that was a smart choice of them. Because it's hard to come across Korean palettes these days that are all matte, I think. Because a lot of them tend to have a lot of shimmer. Blowing effect. This one is pretty much all matte as well, except for 3 of the shadows. This is what I use on my eyes today, and I really like it. They're all super blendable, all super easy to build up. I just have to I mean, it doesn't take that much effort for me. I kind of just maybe max twice, and then you know it was really easy to blend out as well. I used one of these brushes to blend all the shadow out, and it all blended pretty, and it all built easily, and it created a look that I'm happy with. Oh my god, and can we also talk about how the little slip that comes in it, like he looks like he's jumping across, and on the other one he's like holding on to dear life to the palette. So do I recommend the eyeshadow palettes? Absolutely. The nudes one, only if you want something like that. If you already have a lot of colors that are in this range. This is very, this reminds me so much of Urban Decay. If you want something, a palette really good for the fall, and you know, you can still get daily makeup, I think, because there are some neutrals in here, and I feel like you can make a neutral eyeshadow look with this. It'll just be slightly on more like the warm side. You can definitely go with this palette. I think both are just really fucking good, and the shadows are really smooth. Again, buttery, creamy, pigmented, enough. And then, last but not least, for the stuff that I have at least, is the tint. I didn't get every color, only because I wasn't really interested in the other colors. There's a pink one, a red that's slightly pinkened, and then I got this one, which is more of like in the tube, it looks like a burnt orange, but on the lips, it's kind of just like it's almost like a natural lip color, but like orange. Like an orange that's like a natural, that makes absolutely no sense, but it's this color. And then there's like a deep purpley pinky wine shade. I almost got that one, but I didn't. I just got this one, and I actually didn't think I would like it that much, but I actually really like it. I did the whole thing that I did in my fall makeup thing, where I put like a thin layer. I kind of blended out up to a little bit past my upper and lower lip line, and then I added a little bit more. Actually, I need to put more. That's one thing. This is not actually, it's a tint, but it doesn't actually stain your lips all that much, which personally, I do not mind. I've said many times I don't mind reapplying my lip color. But if you hate that, then you probably will not like this. Formula is more on like the shiny glossy side, which I am really into lately. But that's the color right there. I don't have much else to say. The applicator is really good. It's fucking huge, to be honest. But it makes it quicker to apply the lip tint. And at first, the formula is actually really thick. I thought it was gonna be more like a thick gloss, but when it settles into the lips, it does almost like absorb a lot of the moisture absorbs into the lips. So you're left with more like a thinner feeling lip color, but I actually really like that. I was almost hesitant to go, because I put my lips on first before I did my eye makeup, and I was a little hesitant to use the red eyeshadow palette, like the second palette, because I felt like it would be too much, but I think they look alright. So for the tints, they're alright. I like this color, and this formula, well, the formula is okay. I like the color though, so I'm probably gonna reach for this more often, but yeah, sorry, I didn't get the other colors only because I felt like I wasn't that into them. Actually, what is this called? This is the volume Up Tint. Does it really add volume to the lips? I don't really, I only think it's because of the shiny finish that it almost gives the illusion of like more volume to the lips, but I think it's mostly the way I applied it that makes it look like my lips are slightly bigger than my natural lip color. And then there's just a bunch of like hand creams and like lotions, and then there's like, from the Little Friends collection, which is like the baby version of Kakao Friends, there was like the baby mild sun cushion thing right there, and then there's hand cream as well, but I didn't really get those because, again, they didn't really appeal to me. But yeah, that's all the stuff I have. I actually like the collection. I wouldn't say you need every single thing, but if you are a Ryan connoisseur like I am, then you need it. My top picks are definitely the palettes. These, not completely necessary. I'm probably gonna reach for this one quite often because I really like that shading color. And this one maybe, it would especially be really good for people with more dry skin, because if you're not really into like powder blush, if you happen to have a face shop cushion already, you can just buy the case, so you don't have to worry about buying another like cushion if you don't need it. I'm not sure exactly what cushions this also works for, because there are certain cushions that you can put in here But for now, because so many different cushions comes out lately, a lot of them are changing shapes, so I don't know which ones can fit into this one, but if you just want the case, you can get just the case. But other than that, I don't really care for face shop cushions, so there's my little review on all this stuff. Hope you found that useful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.